This podcast is part of E2C Network, where we share the whole Auburn experience.
David Housel described it best: we are living the whole of the Auburn experience. You can quantify it and qualify it in many different categories, in many different ways, in many different places throughout many different lives, experiences. But at its heart, at its core, the Auburn experience is all about its sports, its culture, and of course, the Auburn family. Since it's about family, we got to have family members here to discuss this experience. I'm your host, Kyle, back in chair number 1 and old chair number 2. There he sits, looking all glorious with that beautiful just block. I think it's called Block A logo on your hat. It's something for those of you that are viewers can see that, listeners cannot. And just looking like vintage Auburn right now, especially with that background. Mr. Austin Scott, welcome, sir.
Well, I mean, what an opening for us as we've been away for a little bit. I'm feeling all good about myself. Thank you. Good to be back with you, Kyle. And War Eagle to you, sir. War Eagle to our Auburn family. We have much to discuss. Lots of good, lots of not so good. All in all, it'll be a good one. But really glad to be back.
Yes, we have been away for a few weeks, mainly due to my schedule. I will never, ever guarantee that craziness won't pop up, but I don't anticipate us having any other schedule issues until Christmas Eve and New Year, which unfortunately falls on our normal record date. So this is a little bit of housekeeping pre-show for all, or at the early part of the show for all the listeners and viewers. We will not be doing a Christmas Eve show. I can guarantee you of that. We'll talk
live from the candlelight service.
Right. I doubt we will do a New Year's Eve, but Austin and I will discuss that. I don't know what he's going to get into. I don't get into much on New Year's Eve, but I don't know that we'll both be in a place that we can do that. We'll figure that out. But the point is, we're back, and we're back on a mostly regular schedule for the foreseeable future, as far as we can tell. With that being said, let's talk about our first segment, Auburn Potpourri, where we just bounce around to any little thing that we can and discuss within the Auburn experience. Some sports, some not. Let's start off with sports stuff. We're going to go ahead and give a humongous shout out to back-to-back playoff, I guess they call it playoffs, tournament berth, Auburn volleyball, making it for the second year in a row. Last year was the first time in program history. Coach Crouch and the ladies and the staff have done us proud yet again. A 7 seed going into the Louisville Regional to take on Western Michigan. Up and down year in terms of where there were some injury issues and things like that. But here we are again, Austin, celebrating Auburn volleyball in the postseason. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And last year it was kind of I can't believe they finally made it. They finally broke that ceiling. And this year it's similar. I saw the program post, first time back-to-back appearances. Obviously, if you made it for the first time last year, it's your first time making it back-to-back. But definitely feels a little bit different this year. Feels like not so much as a happy to be here, but feels like we know we've been here before. We know we know what it takes to compete, and a little bit higher seed. So I'm excited about this team. I'm excited about, the collective Auburn family fan base being able to watch some postseason volleyball once again. It's a fun team. That team that came really, really close to some big upsets this year, even in just recent days with Arkansas taking them to 5 sets. So really excited about this team. Coach Crouch continues to have this team on the right trajectory, and it's good. I mean, that's only more evidence by making the postseason again. So looking forward to that match and seeing how far Auburn volleyball can push this thing.
I'm just calling for a streak that just exists in perpetuity from now on, like playoffs, tournament from now on. Like the streak never ends, back to back to back.
Make it a regular.
We're literally going to just be repeating that, years and years from now. I'm just very proud of the program, very proud, Coach Crouch, his staff, and the ladies, and really excited to watch them in this postseason, however long it lasts. A little bit of non-sports. I'm going to give you something, Austin, that I just tried for the very first time today in Auburn food-wise, that I've had on my list the day that I saw it announced that it was opening in Auburn. Not because I was familiar with the brand, the company, the restaurant, but this is where we offer free advertising, basically.
You're right.
These companies, we're giving you a little preview and a little bit of pizzazz here. Stacks, which is a breakfast brunch location in downtown Auburn, just to the right if you're looking at the storefronts of Little Italy. I think that's the one right next to it. I don't know if there's one in between it. And the bookstore that's there, just the traditional bookstore, not a college bookstore. But it is known for its pancakes, its breakfast food, and my goodness, Mr. Scott, was this a winner? For several reasons. Boy, was the food good. They've got some, at least what their menu claims, some things exclusive to not just Alabama, but to Auburn. I had the Conecuh sausage, pancake encrusted hot dogs. It's not hot dogs, but corn. I don't know if you call them pancake dogs, something like that. And you dip them in the maple syrup too. My gosh, have you thought about trying this?
Yeah. So Emily and I have talked about Stacks, like you said, since it came, and tried to go with some friends one time, just crazy busy. Line a little too, or the wait time a little too long. But have heard about what it is and how it's been popular so far, but I have not gotten to go. It is still on that list of things we got to make sure we do. And so I was very glad to hear that you told me you went, and it sounds like it checked off all the boxes for yourself. Auburn needs some more breakfast places, and those have started to come around.
Yes. Well, we actually kind of went through the rundown this morning because we were leaving town. And, we were out more towards the Tiger Town area. So we went to Flying Biscuit. It was an 1.5 hour wait.
Yep.
No, I thought Byron's had started opening up at, on Sundays for brunch and stuff like that. That is, I think, the next week. It wasn't open today. That was a big disappointment. I was actually kind of got my hopes up. Flying Biscuit was too busy. I was like, well, let's go try Stacks. We walk in there, lines literally out the door. It's rainy. It's awful outside. And I just looked at everybody and said, look, this is probably our last outside of going to a fast food or Buc-ee's or something like that. Let's just wait and see what happens. And boy, am I glad I did, because not only was it one of the best things we've ever tried at Auburn, that's a big compliment.
Wow. Yeah.
But today was a big recruiting day for football, very full of high profile recruits, certain coaches. And it happened, I didn't get his name, but an individual who works on staff walked in right behind us and kind of, because he heard us talking and saying, that's this player that's planning to come to Auburn. And he's like, yeah, this is our guys and all this kind of stuff. So Stacks was popping for several reasons today. So I can recommend the food, and clearly it is a big hit with the athletes, the staff, and prospective athletes too. So I will recommend those Conecuh pancake dogs, the biscuits. Hey, what's your favorite breakfast food?
Oh man, Emily and I have been on a streak here of Byron's. We have, classic eggs, grits, bacon, biscuits. I mean, you cannot go wrong. Now look, Kyle, I think we've discussed this before. You and I both have a very, very fond place in our heart for Price's Barbecue House. May she rest in peace. And I was not sure it was anything was ever gonna come close to filling that hole in our hearts. But I mean, Byron says they know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing.
Good breakfast. And so I'm usually a traditionalist, but Stacks is something that's different in Auburn. And when it's something downtown, I hate seeing places that end up leaving downtown for whatever reason. And so I'm glad that's going well. For it to be something new like that, and it's already be a hit and a place coaches think to take prospective athletes, says a lot. So Stacks, it's on top of our list of places to go. So I will report back when we can get there.
Oh, I'd love a 2.0 report from that and hear what you think, and see if I didn't just overhype things, which I have a tendency to do sometimes. I will admit that.
I'm proud of you for trying it. You are a creature of habit when it comes to your Auburn food establishment. So I'm very proud of you.
I don't think this football season, I mean, I went to places I had been before, but I don't think I went to the same place on any game day. Like,
I'm very proud of you.
For any meal. Other than Chick-fil-A, which I had to just in a pinch sometimes, because it's Chick-fil-A.
Did the superstitious part of you get a little given?
No, sorry, that doesn't count. That always has to happen. It's because I have to have my therapy Taco Bell or my celebration Taco Bell. And boy, did I do some therapy at Taco Bell. That sounds weird. but I did some therapy.
I
mean,
believe it.
You literally saw me sitting over there in the corner at Taco Bell, just crying my eyes into a chalupa. I mean, it just picture that right now. So, that's exactly. Look, if y'all want to find me after a game, for those of you that said they'd love to come up and say hello, that's where you find me at the Auburn Taco Bell, just past. I think it's I forget the fraternity over there on
Just past
yeah,
PG.
you know,
Yep.
it's just that's where you can find me in celebration or crying into chalupa in therapy. Real quick before we got to get into our full topics, I do want to mention, look, we are going to be talking a lot of sports obviously still when football is done. Basketball is well underway. A lot more coverage from that coming from us here personally about an E2C network as we kind of get back into gear, me being gone for a little bit. It's been very impressive watching the team, even with one loss under their belt. Very strong opinions so far. I know you're probably I would assume you're impressed with what you've seen in Bruce Pearl and his team thus far for the most part.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a fun team to watch so far. Still gelling, still figuring some things out. I got to go to the Alabama A&M game, and the team just did what they need to do against an inferior opponent. I think the thing, I don't think Bruce Pearl would say any differently because he's been very adamant about it. Finding that strength to keep going in the second half, and not get lackadaisical coming out of halftime. Is going to be this team's kind of thing they're going to have to work on consistently throughout the year. So even against Alabama A&M. So I think as we go on the year, I hope that gets better. I think that'll probably tell a lot about where this team can go.
Absolutely. Well, that's going to do it for Auburn Potpourri. We got 2 main segments coming up for you, all about the Iron Bowl, the experience around it of game day, the atmosphere, and then, of course, we'll break down the game. Big topic number 1 tonight, we are talking about the Iron Bowl. We're going to talk about the good parts of it first. The result will come in just a minute when we break down what we saw in the game, which there were good things in the game, too. We were in the Iron Bowl, folks, yet again. So we'll talk about that. So we'll just put that over there for a side. It's bittersweet. The Iron Bowl in Jordan here always means the season's about to end. So it's kind of that yin and yang of like, man, this is such a great atmosphere. But every moment that passes, this is it. This is the last time we're going to be there. And you hope that it lives up to the hype of what this rivalry is. And I'll start off by saying this, Austin. People don't understand how truly amazing this rivalry is. I had the opportunity to be on someone else's show this week and talk about why it's the greatest, and I will maintain this, the greatest rivalry in sports. And I will fight anybody tooth and nail on that. There is just no other place where the state literally collides all into just a small town of Auburn or even a small-ish town of Tuscaloosa. It's a bit much bigger than Auburn, but in the grand scheme of things, for most people, it's a smaller town too. It means so much, and you can see in the way that people show up just to be on campus. I think when I was walking up the spiral staircases to heaven, essentially, to get to, to the bowels of the upper deck, you look out and you just see the people that it's 30 minutes to kickoff, and they're not even rushing to get in because they are there just to be on campus for the Iron Bowl. So for me, I don't know what your schedule and how you were able to get on campus, how early you were, but boy, was it popping. Traffic was ridiculous. There's a reason that I try to get into Auburn the day before on any game day, because this one I was not able to because of my schedule. I pulled in and parking spots, quote unquote, are literally just getting eaten up. And if you didn't make a decision, then you were going to miss out on a parking spot that was safe and legitimate.
Yeah.
What was your experience like in terms of atmosphere, the crowd outside? Like, what did you see and what did you feel about?
Yeah. I mean, it was, and I'll have to even back it up to Friday because it was kind of the first time Emily and I were coming from Birmingham for Thanksgiving. And usually we tend to leave a little bit earlier in the morning, or I do. She'll stay with some fam. Given the boys this year, we decided to wait till the afternoon, early evening to leave. And I have not done that in a long time. And probably since I was early in school, is come back. And I say that late because it's the day before the game. But even 280 on the way back was just, we'd hit spots where we're just stuck in a parking lot essentially, or in times where it's just slow. And it's everybody just getting in town, either going to the lake or going to their game day condo early to be there to avoid Saturday morning, like you experienced. And so, once Emily and I got to campus, which was about 12:30, maybe a little later than that, we started our walk, and I mean, it was just very obvious from the get-go. There are tons of people on campus. There are tons of Auburn fans. There are tons of Alabama fans. And like you said, it's just a place every year where people just convene, and that is where the state comes together for one day, good or bad,
For
to
better
hang
or for
out.
worse.
For better or for worse, it is. We're all going to pile into this city limit, or really this university campus together. And so it was no different. There were, and I stress that because I think it's important for people to know this was a week after losing to New Mexico State, and that's
You
not
had
just
to
me
talk about
saying.
it. You had to bring it up. We made it the whole potpourri without even talking about it, and you had to bring it up.
Wait, look, I can just glaze right over it because we didn't have to have a whole podcast dedicated to it. Even still, after that game, Alabama fans alike are pouring in because this game matters. This game means something. As silly as it sounds, far beyond football, this game is going to matter throughout the next year until we play it again. With families, with friends, coworkers, and such. So it was packed. It was absolutely nuts. I'll be honest. When I was walking up and we were getting ready, I thought there are going to be tons of Alabama fans in this stadium, and just because they were everywhere. And I don't know where they all went because I mean there was a lot and more.
Well, I
than
can tell you where a
normal.
lot of them were pregame in the second.
Well, there were a lot. There were more in your normal road game. A lot, man. Obviously, and in the road section and sprinkled throughout. But it just doesn't. It did not feel like a lot, as many as I was seeing on campus in the stadium. All that said, so many people, so much movement. I did not get to look. I wish I had gotten to look over the concourse for going up because I'm sure it would have just looked like somebody poked an ant bed and there's just people everywhere.
That is such a good analogy for what happens when Auburn and Alabama fans get together. Poking an ant. It's like the fire ants and the darker ants get together and just kind of like, and usually they're not really fighting, but it looks like they are. In fact, I got like a bunch of stories popping in here. All the Alabama fans apparently congregated in the quad area between, I don't know all of the dorms, but Keller Hall, the quad area, dorm area, right past the student center. I mean, that's where I've been testing out a potential regular tailgate spot for the future for E2C if we ever wanted to do something this past season. And I just, because I wasn't able to be there early to set anything up, I was like, I just want to see who was in there this time because it's been pretty chill back there. It seemed like every Bammer, I'm gonna behave because I can use some other terms, was back there just hooping and hollering and RTing it up and just, I just turned the corner. I'm like, what is this stench? And everywhere back there. I mean, you couldn't find a piece of Origin Blue to save your life back there. I mean, I guess they just claimed it. So I'm kind of thankful I didn't try to set up a tailgate back there for the Iron Bowl. There's that. I had an experience outside the stadium early in the morning as I was making my rounds, I usually do. I went to SEC Nation, was there. Always great to have them there. It brings a good atmosphere, similar-ish to game day, but not as big. But it's always, I think, my recommendation is you should always stop by SEC Nation because they do a lot of fun stuff in and around it. So if you have the time, if you're interested, do go stop by there when they come in and show them a good time while they come to Auburn in terms of fan response.
Yes.
The jokes can be said on both sides, more on the Bama side, but about the redneck nature of our fan bases and Cal College. I'm going to just say it, cousin lover on the other side and all, however you'd like to categorize each other. But I saw the two most stereotypical Auburn and Alabama fans meet each other just on happenstance as I passed by both of them. And the intent, like the phrasing, the way they talk, just arguing over nothing. Like, it was just like an implosion happened right there. And it was the most hilarious thing ever. And I was like, I'm so glad I witnessed this to start off my morning of the Iron Bowl.
Yes.
Like, it was
Did it make you smile? Like, what was your reaction?
I'm sad that it made me smile. I don't know what that says about me as a depraved individual, but like, I found that insanely entertaining. And
absolutely,
it was incredible. All right, we've talked about outside. Let's talk about inside the game, because then we're going to talk about the actual results of the game and what we saw from the team. The atmosphere inside Jordan Hare, 10 out of 10 out of 10 out of 10. Bama fans admitted that too. You could even watch them, the most arrogant and obstinate Alabama fans looked around. They were like, wow, this is pretty awesome to be in this thing right now, whether it was a swag surf, whether it was, just the halftime show, the Metallica show happening again. Everybody walked away from that game just because of the game itself, but the atmosphere of being in it, the Iron Bowl delivered yet again. I would guess that you would agree too.
Oh my gosh. I mean, that was one of the first things I said on our walk back. I was like, it was fun to just be in there again, and it mattered. Like, that was Auburn and Jordan Hare at its height. That's what it's expected for games like that. So it's expected for SEC games, especially Iron Bowl games. Because I mean, it was unbelievable to all that were in there, to on the field, in the stands, those, working. It was just very obvious that this is one of the premier environments in college football, if not the premier college football environment. And if the Auburn Tigers have a lead, or they are in the game going to the fourth quarter, it is something that you cannot explain unless you are in the stadium. It was absolutely unbelievable to be a part of and just feel again. I think it's, there's been big games. Obviously, the Iron Bowl from a couple of years ago, I would say that environment was fantastic as well. But, given, I think, the history of the last few years and all the things on and off the field, whatever has gone on, it felt like maybe this thing is going to get back up to where it's supposed to be, and that environment can be a mainstay around here. And so I thought it couldn't have gotten any better. The weather was just, I mean, as perfectly end of November Iron Bowl Saturday as you can ask for, with sunny and dark, just, I mean, and I know you saw the sunset.
Oh, I saw that sunset, man. And here's my one regret. I love the side that I had my season tickets this year because of certain other weather aspects that it helps with. But if you were on the other upper deck, you had the most amazing view of the Iron Bowl backdrop you could ever wish for. I turned and looked to my right, and I said, I am so mad that I can't run over this Bama fan right here to take a better picture, because orange and blue skies, baby. Every single time. And on the Iron Bowl, it just doesn't get any better.
Everything about the environment, like that is what I love about college football, and I love about Auburn football, is what the Iron Bowl environment and atmosphere was. I told Emily, I said, I can't believe we have to wait 2 more years before that game comes back here, because it is like that. It does not matter. Truly, it does not matter what the records are. It doesn't matter. And that, I'm not even talking about the game play on the field. It does not matter the circumstances outside of it. When the game is in Jordan Hare Stadium, and I want to make sure I specify, when the game is in Jordan Hare Stadium, people show up, and people will show up for that game because it matters to just be with the Auburn people. And I love it. I love every second.
If it's in Tuscaloosa, they can't get them to show up or stay, so it is what it is for them.
You got to go to
and if you go to Legion Field again, you might lose people in there. So it is what it is. Final thing about the atmosphere, I want to give a shout out to an individual here. And look, I am showing favoritism here, but I want to give a shout out to our mic man, Dalton Odom. He has been a big, supporter and follower of what we do here at E2C Network, and we very much appreciate him. And I believe this is his last year. I think he even has said as much.
Yeah.
And I appreciate his friendship and how much he has meant as a mic man to the experience in Jordan Hare. And we're going to miss him. But all that encompassed in is the good stuff, all the good things of the Iron Bowl. Next, let's talk about that game. Big topic number 2 tonight. We're going to talk about, I guess you call this therapy again. We did it on the post-game stream as we always do. So if you missed those, you can go back and watch them. But I would encourage you, if you've not subscribed to, especially here at YouTube, we do post-game streams for pretty much all the basketball games that we're able to, barring scheduling conflict. And we'll do some for baseball as well and other things too. But we're going to talk about 27-24. Bama beats Auburn in the Iron Bowl 2023. No, Bama fans, you didn't get the touchdown at the end. Ha. So I guess we'll take our wins wherever we can get them. It did not count. He did step out of bounds, I believe, was the ruling that kept them from having that touchdown. Is that your understanding for why the touchdown was off the board?
That's what they said. He ran right to me, so I didn't see it, but the referee was right there, and that's what they said. And I don't think they're going to go review something for the Vegas sakes. So I think 27-24 is what will go down in the history books.
And it doesn't matter because Bama gets the win. Auburn is literally, and we can argue up and down what the real result of the loss is. But one thing I will stand on, if you catch a punt, if you let the punt go, I would argue Auburn wins that game. Is there a more valid point than that about the result of this game?
No, I don't think and I think you can play it both ways. You can complain all you want about certain officiating issues, both sides. You can complain all you want about certain defensive procedures or schemes. You can complain all you want about whatever you want to focus on how is why the game came to the outcome that you believe. But at the end of the day, you catch the ball.
Yeah.
The game's over. And I want to make sure, because there's been a lot of talk about this, I want to make sure that we are not hounding Coy Moore.
Thank you. I was about to go there. Thank you.
We are not getting on Coy Moore. We are not getting on him as a person specifically at all. Just it doesn't matter who it is. If it could have been Keontae Scott, the normal punt returner for Auburn, who happened to get hurt on the play before. It could have been Ryan Davis, one of the best punt returners I think Auburn's ever had. If you catch the ball, Auburn gets to make sure that clock is real low if Alabama ever gets the ball again. Or if you let it go, is a bigger possibility. You might be backed up a lot, but you control what you control right there.
Right.
Now, could Auburn still fumble the ball on the 1 yard line? Yes, but Auburn is in control there. So I think you and I are in agreement based on that you brought it up. The muff punt is where I look at it and say that's where Auburn had to clean up a mistake in order to give themselves the best chance to have won the game.
Yes. You catch the ball, you let it go. I think Auburn wins the game. Point I made on the post-game stream is I think if they catch the ball and just start from there, that's kind of like the air being let out for Alabama at that point, and 1 first down, which we were able to move the ball pretty effectively. You're done. You're pretty much done at that point because that just kind of takes the gas off of their engine. If they let it go and it gets stopped back inside the 10, there's a little bit of energy there for Alabama, especially on their side of the field with the majority of their fans in that corner and their band. You might think they could make a stop, making it a little bit more interesting, but it's still in your control. But I am glad that you brought up this whole thing about Coy Moore because, some of you people, I'm just going to say, I'm nobody here that I know right now, but are just ridiculous. And you're cowards. You would never say some things that you say 100%. To coaches, to players, to Coy Moore. So you're a coward if you're saying it here on a podcast or things like that in the comments section. So it doesn't matter who it was. But the reality is you catch it, you let it go, game's pretty much over. Still plenty of other blame to go around. You can say you play better defense. That's, if you make a better coaching decision, if you complete a drive that had stalled earlier in the game, you're not even in that situation at all. The muff punt, that probably doesn't even matter. And so we can play these ifs and buts and candies and nuts all we want. We're all not going to have a Merry Christmas at the end of this. We lost, It's like, it is what it is at this point. What a game, though. I was so proud of this team. What's amazed me is the amount of fans that thought we weren't going to be in this thing. I was like, have you not watched this Iron? Have you
Yeah,
not watched Auburn and Jordan
thank you.
Hare? Like
Thank you.
this game alone dictates that we're going to take this down the wire. Does it happen every single year? No. Sometimes we whoop their butts. It's happened. Trust me, folks. I know it seems a long time ago, but we have done that in the past. And lately, they've whipped our butts in some games. But this is the Iron Bowl. This team plays differently there. So proud of some big moments there. I think it started off pretty rough, especially offensively. But I think Peyton stepped up in some big ways. Javaris Johnson stepped up in some big ways. We had a lot of defensive players. Eugene Asante, Marcus Harris had a very crucial, I think it was a sack late in the game. When we were talking on our post-game stream and I kept talking about individual steps, I was like, I remember that moment with that player. You had big players step up in a big game, even if it was for singular moments of time. And that's what you love is everybody's heart and soul was put into this game, and they left it out on there in the field.
Oh, absolutely. And like you said, it baffles me, just unbelievably baffles me that people can look at this game in Jordan Hare. Now, we've had our struggles over there. There's a hex over there that we cannot shake a monkey off our back at all over there. But this game is in Jordan Hare, I don't understand why anyone counts Auburn out. I just don't you watch certain commentators on certain national college football shows just harping and harping and harping on they just lost to who? They just lost to New Mexico State. No, I know crazy things have happened. It's not happening today in Jordan Hare. Foot and mouth is happening all over that College Game Day set right now, and I couldn't be happier about it because, yes, is it a moral victory? Absolutely, it's a moral victory. Auburn's still 6-6. Auburn did not win the game. It does not matter. However, this whole disrespect that we're just going to keep looking at Auburn and it doesn't matter what their record is, but Alabama's going to come into Jordan Hare Stadium and win a game is not going to happen. You can ask the head guy over there. His comment post-game to CBS was, we have had a lot of weird stuff happen over here, and I think that's the first time it's gone our way. And he's about right because and that's not – I don't think he meant it this way, but I'm saying it. This is not just because Jordan Hare is the Indian burial ground and we've got something spooky going on over there. It's because it is a dang hard place to play because the Auburn family shows up and shows out.
Yep.
And I hope that never becomes just something that everybody agrees with personally because we keep getting disrespected. We keep showing up. And so it did not go our way this time. It's gone our way a good bit over here. And it doesn't matter what the record is, and I'm proud of that. But I cannot stand, there were multiple questions all week. It felt like is it going to be close or it's probably going to be a blowout? I mean, they're not very good. No. On any given day especially in this conference, anybody can beat anybody. And when it's Auburn and Alabama and that game's in Jordan Hare Stadium, I'm taking the Tigers every time. I'm going to be wrong, a few times, but I'm taking the Tigers, Kyle. I'm getting off my soapbox. The game's over. I'm sweating now.
Are you sweating? You are in a sweatshirt.
I love this game. And I know Auburn's lost the majority of them, but I love this game. I think this game is fantastic. And as we already talked about the environment, so I don't want to get back on that. But when it's in Jordan Hare, this team steps up and this team can play with anybody. And I think that showed. So I'm proud of our guys. Peyton Thorne, I think, is tough as nails. I think he showed big time that he can be a big time college quarterback, and especially in the SEC. I think our rushing game was absolutely unbelievable.
Yep.
The fact we just put the head down, played smash mouth running Auburn football against a bunch of 5-star defensive players. Yep. And outside of maybe the first couple drives, took them all the way up and down that field a few times. So I loved it. I think it's cliche, but I think the talent discrepancy is obviously there. Coach Freeze has talked about that. That's been talked about ad nauseum. That talent discrepancy is probably about as wide as it's going to be here for the next few years. So I can't wait. I can't wait for more. I think if you don't think this program is on the right trajectory, I just really don't know what to tell you. And I think you're going to have to come to that realization yourself some other way.
drop the mic, walk out right now, sir. I mean, that's well put. Well put. I want to round out our discussion. It could fall into the experience part of this in segment number 2, but we haven't really touched on it yet. Did you know that it was the anniversary of the kick six? I mean,
have you heard?
Have you heard? It's like, did you know Jarrett Stidham's from Texas? Did you know Bo is getting married? Did you know Bo's dad played here? Whatever the buzz phrase.
Future Heisman winner, Bo Nix.
I'm not going to jinx him. Anyway,
week,
we'll talk. And yes, folks, we're probably going to, for those of you that just see every time we say the phrase Bo Nix, because you can't.
I might even have a T-shirt I'll wear for it.
You know what? I might even type Bo Nix is my Heisman across my head and just wear it for all of you folks that just can't be mature enough to celebrate an Auburn graduate. Anyway, that's not what I want to talk about. Chris Davis back. He's the honorary Mike man. I mean, like you, the script was written by every Auburn fan. Like you could have just exactly how many times we were going to replay the kick six, all that stuff. I mean, there was no surprise in the celebration of it. And, don't let any Alabama fan tell you that they've gotten over it, that it doesn't matter anymore. They're trying to say at the end of the game, this erases the kick six. You will live with that, and they know they will live with that forever, and we will never let it begin. It is the greatest play in college sports, I will argue, in sports, period, at least American sports. And, boy, it was fun to have that 10th anniversary. It would have been great to cap off with a win, but I think we did a great job celebrating it.
Oh, I mean, absolutely. And, you can say all you want how much has been overplayed the last 10 years. You might even have a little bit of a point. But when it's the 10-year anniversary, it's going to happen all day long. It happened all game long. And, I think that, like you said, it is the best play, especially to end a game in any competition in sports. It's just the stakes around it, everything that went into it is still just unbelievable to think about. And it'll continue. It's going to go down in Auburn lore, just like so many other great plays, especially in this rivalry. He'll have. I'll be honest, folks. 4th and 31.
I thank you.
Heard about for quite a long time.
And here's the difference. Go ahead. Yeah,
as it should. We didn't even talk about the yardage and all that, but 4th and 31 and that kind of pass and that kind of catch. Yes, that will be something. Look, if it was us, yes, we'd all be playing it left and right as much as they have. And so, this goes back into how great the rivalry is, but I think that that's always going to be a part of it is these great plays and these great memories because of the emotions they bring to us. So, you're going to see 4th and 31 a lot. You're going to see the kick six a lot, but look, nobody's calling 4th and 31 the best play ever in the game. So we'll take that in our bank and we'll deposit it.
I'll say right now, it's one of the best plays that I've seen in the Iron Bowl. But
absolutely,
it's not the best, but it was incredible. And I'm going to give credit where credit is due. See, that's the difference there, Bama fans. We can actually, just say, yeah, you got us. I mean, and wow, what a way to do it. 4th and 31. Woo! Of course, if you catch a punt, it wouldn't even mattered. But here we stand at the end of it. Iron Bowl 2023 in the books, 27-24. We'll get you next time, Bammers. On the way out, if you'd like to catch up with me, you can do so on the X/Twitter at Kyle Loomis 24. Where can they find you?
Yes, Austin G. Scott on the X/Twitter, Instagram, all the things. We'll be moving into hardwood season here soon. So I hope our Auburn-Alabama game is not 27-24 on the basketball court. Something tells me it won't be.
If it is, I will literally have no more hair on the live stream. So you can have that to look forward to. Thank y'all for tuning in. Until we talk to you again. War Eagle.